Welcome to Albania.
Country number 19.
19, all right. It is the most beautiful area you've probably seen from some of the shots we've taken. We're just surrounded by insanely beautiful nature and mountains. We explored the little beautiful town of Theth yesterday and had a little walk around the little village there. Because it had been raining so much, all of the rivers and streams are really high at the moment. It's making for a really, really awesome spot to explore.
Yeah, we actually didn't know really what kind of expectation we had of this area. This is a national park and quite touristy, but we're actually blown away by the landscape, especially today. It's just such a beautiful day, no clouds in the sky. We found the most epic wild camping spots the last 2 nights. Like, highly recommend you come here. It's just amazing. We're gonna go
awesome
on a little hike today, but yeah, like this area, actually Albania is starting really well.
So there's some awesome like granite mountain cliff faces over this way, and then all through here is like forested mountains. And we had a beautiful sunset last night, and the sun has come through quite early this morning, which is great.
And look at the river just behind.
Yeah, really cool. So we're doing a trail later on today in Skadi that heads off kind of that way. So we've got lots to do and explore, and the weather is turning it on for us. Really cold evenings, but the days are surprisingly hot here.
I'm in t-shirts.
Yeah, it's only like what, 8:30 in the morning. It's really, really nice this time of year. So we're gonna saddle locally up, and we're gonna check out a place called the Blue Eye.
Wow, what a start of a hike already. So technically there's parking at the start of this trail, but we just looked on Google Map and there was a little point saying taxi point or something like this, and we're like, oh, that looks like a little, almost like a 4-drive track, so we'll just drive there instead of like basically hiking on the road. So we did a little shortcut of 2.6 kilometers.
Yeah, nice.
Definitely not suitable for 2-wheel drive, but yeah, perfect for Skadi. And yeah, not too sure how long is the hike, but it's absolutely stunning. You happy?
Yeah.
Yoo-hoo! So apparently we've got a dog companion.
She's gorgeous.
Been following on the hike.
She's super cute. Nice dog. Wow. Look at that.
This is beautiful. Actually,
There's a fish down there, Oak.
better than I thought it was going to be.
Wow. Wow. Should go on the bridge and get a little bird's eye view.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would make such a nice swimming spot.
Watch the hole. Wow. Oh, cool. How cool is that? There's some big fish down there. Wow, what a cool spot. We're not quite in the sun as you can see yet, so it's a little bit chilly. We'll go back over to the other point of the Blue Eye. I think there's like a cafe up here. We didn't bring any cash, probably not open anyway. Normally you can walk across, but the bridge has recently been taken out. That looks like but we've still got our little dog companion making sure that we're safe. Oakley's being a champion, so we'll go back to this next spot by the bridge, have a little bite to eat, and then cruise back. This reminds me a little bit of Bali, but there's no waterfall mafia, and it's like no one here, and there's actually much less trash, which is nice. That's very cool.
Whoa, that was a big one. 1, 2, 3. Wow, what a backdrop challenge spot. Amazing. So we left the Theft National Park and we on that 4-drive track towards the coast, which is not really a 4-drive track. It's more like a dirt road, which is going to be paved at some stage for sure, unfortunately, because this area brings a lot of tourists. It's low season right now, and there were actually quite a few people going to the hike after we left. So I think if you do come here, I highly recommend you do the track from the other side, from the village of Skoda to Theft. You can go as well there from the other side on a paved road, which we did, like we wanted to do a big loop. But it's such a stunning area. We're actually blown away. It's probably one of our favorite areas in a long time.
Yeah, it's amazing. There's I reckon, I was saying to Ange before, it'd be cool to buy like an old dilapidated property somewhere in this valley or in the mountains here. There's so many of them, and turn it into some sort of like tourist venture or camping ground while we renovated a property or something. Like looks like there's a lot of opportunities here, and I think this place is going to explode in the next decade or two, because the spot's just incredible. Gosh, good man.
Yeah, we love it. And like, yeah, on the way, there's so many abandoned buildings, a lot of churches in this area.
This area must be mostly Christian, I think. Yeah, we haven't seen any mosques.
Absolutely beautiful. Wow. Gosh, yeah, that's sketchy. Yeah, it's too... No, thank you.
Bugger! So this is part of the Trans-European Trail, the TET, and this section of Albania is infamous for having road closures due to rocks coming down off the mountains. We had some ridiculously heavy rain a few days ago, so that must be what's caused this. That probably doesn't do it justice in the GoPro, is like a 30-ton rock. It's massive. There's no chance that we can drag that out of the way. It is so touch and go whether we could actually drive this. A car has. Yeah, I might give it a go, obviously without Ange and Oakley in the car. If I had a pickaxe, I would attack this side and see if I could break some off. I reckon I can make this. I reckon Skadi could fit through here, but Ange, which is totally fair enough, doesn't want me doing it. So
the responsibility of spotting you here, like this is the part where I'm worried about as you turn. Like this is just way too like loose. Yeah, I've got in the back of my mind as well, like what happened to Matthew and Stacey.
Yeah, and that's a deadly roll. Okay, I do think Skadi would make this, Ange. I know my wheelbase really well, and I'm pretty certain I would make that. All right, so we've turned around. Look, we measured it with a tape measure. Our wheelbase is about 2 meters, so at the very widest. There was like 2.2, but because of kind of the length of the truck that I've got to take into consideration getting around that boulder, personally I think I could have done it, but if I couldn't have done it, I die. It's not worth it. So unfortunately we can't get through this way. We're gonna have to go back the way we came, which was a much larger distance, but hey, it's part of the adventure.
How level are we? Not so level.
I think it's okay. I think I need to calibrate that. This is a pretty good spot.
Gosh, we're back.
We were just over the other side of the river last night.
Over there.
Over here.
We felt a little bit adventurous going back towards Beth, and Chris was like, let's just cross the river, let's just see what we can find. And yeah, the first crossing was actually a little bit softer than we expected, so tomorrow when we leave we may have to hit it a little bit faster just so that we don't get stuck in a raging river. But gosh, it's probably a blessing in disguise that we didn't cross on the other side and we made it here. Funnily enough, when we came back we crossed paths with a troopy from Germany. They are called Rugged Road Trips on Instagram, and Lucas, filmmaker and videographer that we've watched many of his documentaries on YouTube.
That was crazy.
Including Morocco, which helped us a lot. Like, they were just there and we didn't really tilt. We
didn't click. In the back of my mind I was like, man, I really recognize these people from somewhere. Turns out this bloke has done the most amazing travel overlanding documentaries on YouTube. Millions upon millions of views.
Crazy.
We really studied what he did in Morocco and we added it to our itinerary. It helped heaps. They're legends. Yeah, really, really cool.
So we missed them, and you know,
they'll probably, if they come back, which I don't think they'll be able to get past the rock, they'll probably see us. Maybe they'll come join.
Yeah, we invited them to join us at camp if they don't make it across. Otherwise we might see them, you know, somewhere else. Small world, the overlanding community sometimes. Yeah, this is cool. I'm actually really happy we came back here. I love it. Third night in Theth. Why not? Can't blame it. We've got views like this. I mean, look at that. Just a few days ago marked a 1-year anniversary in Skadi, traveling around Europe. It's crazy to think that we've crossed 19 borders and so many experiences, so many memories as a family. We can't wait for what's ahead. We've got some big plans and big dreams, so stay tuned for that. But one thing we've been using ever since leaving Sweden is an eSIM. So if you're not familiar with the eSIM, it's a virtual SIM card so you can access internet on your phone without having the need of a physical SIM card. We've been using Holafly ever since and I highly recommend it. Once you purchase the eSIM on the website with our discount code TheOutfit, you receive it instantly by email and it's really easy to install. You just have to follow the instruction. Just take a couple of minutes to activate it. Another thing we really like about Holafly is the regional plans they offer. So for example, if you come to Europe like we do, you can have the Europe eSIM, which covers 30 free countries, which is really great peace of mind so that you don't have to get another eSIM every time you change country. Right now, we are using the global eSIM that covers as well the Balkans, and that gives us lots of flexibility in terms of our future plans because we have actually changed our plans quite a few times. And another thing we love about Holafly is the unlimited data, because when you travel, you don't want to have to worry about running out of data and constantly having to check how much gig you've got left. So we use our data for everything, for the everyday chores, finding our campsite, finding petrol station, all the research for itineraries, and as well uploading our videos on YouTube, Instagram. Even if you check your email, all that really adds up on a daily basis. So having unlimited data is a must for us. So if you're traveling very soon, I highly recommend you check out Holafly website. We'll have the link in the description, and don't forget to put the discount code theoutfit so you can get as well a little discount for you for your next trip. Just watch that front. Mama? Can you sit here for Mama? Mama's gonna check on Dada, okay?
No.
Oh my gosh. How can I help you?
Got to relax for her, please.
What?
Mama?
Stay here, Mama's gonna hold the door for Dada, okay? How can I hold the door for you? Get back to me.
Get back to Oakley, Ange.
No, I need to open the door for you.
Get back to Oakley and do what I tell you to do.
It's okay, I'm holding the door for you.
You're okay, sweetheart. Oh, what do I do, Ange? It's okay, sweetheart. That is so. That's the way. fix it. We'll fix it. We'll get it fixed. We just need to get a big truck in here to pull us out. We'll be
A big truck coming here.
We'll be okay. A bit of damage and stuff.
We can't have food. We
We'll
can't.
be okay. No problem. Mama's just going to go through a walk and try and well, we get a good look under it, don't we? Yeah. Yeah. We're okay. We're okay. Yeah, not very good, is it? Oh, what have I done? Well, hello everyone. So first of all, just a huge thank you to the massive outpouring of support and lovely messages on our YouTube post, which we put up a couple of days ago. Yeah, it's really nice, so thank you so much. It's been a bit of a trying time, as you can imagine. So the rollover happened, I think roughly 5 or 6 days ago. So we're still in Albania. We're in a Airbnb. We've been in here for about 4 nights while the car has been being repaired. Just want to do a bit of a play-by-play on what happened. What I've noticed from when I've just been editing the footage today is it's very difficult to see why Skadi rolled. So I just wanted to do a bit of a rundown and, hey, look, maybe some advice, some insight to how it could have been avoided, and maybe that'll benefit some of you in the future, possibly. Because, you know, I've done thousands upon thousands of hours of off-road driving in my life, and nothing like that's ever happened to me. And that happened just so quickly and suddenly that it's been a real shock to me. As a bit of a rundown on where we were, so it must have been about lunchtime. Oakley was asleep in the truck. We kind of on Park for Night, the app, and she'd found a little place by the river relatively close to the capital of Albania. We didn't want to drive too much further because we knew it's just going to get more and more built up, busier and busier, and it starts to become hard to find places to just pull over and have a relaxing stop. So kind of drove down into this riverbed. It wasn't super remote. It was kind of sandwiched between 2 villages, and it was near kind of a mining area. There had been a ton of rain, so we had sort of left the mountain area and spent quite a few days just doing like 1,000 switchbacks to kind of get to this riverbed. So I must admit I was pretty exhausted, to be honest. It's been a lot of driving. The Balkans, as awesome as it's been, the driving we've been doing has been really taxing. Just those switchbacks, just non-stop up and down hill, you just feel like you never really get anywhere. So yeah, a bit exhausted, but yeah, no excuse. So we came down this riverbed, found sort of a flat spot, but because we're sort of up in the hills, the river was actually quite sloped, so I couldn't find anywhere flat to park. Sort of Oakley had woken up, and Ange was sort of looking around as well outside. I ended up driving sort of up the riverbed to see if I could find a better spot, turning around and kind of coming back to where we had entered the riverbed. That was when Ange and Oaks jumped out. So she thought I was just going to stop there and set up the tent like I normally do. But I sort of, you know, kind of tried to level it. It was a bit of a slope. On the other side of a river, over across a bridge, a side that we hadn't been, it looked like there was a nice flat spot. So I wasn't in a huff at all, but I was like, all right, I didn't even really tell Ange. I just started to drive back up this little slope, because when I came down it was nothing. It was no big slope at all. And I was going to cross the bridge and get back down in there. So I didn't wait for Ange and Oaks. I just sort of started to go up on my own. Thank God Ange and Oak weren't in the car. So I started heading up this slope again out of this beautiful little riverbed. There's either a right turn or a left turn. We had come from the left. I didn't realise how tight the turn was to get onto this bridge. When I'd been coming down there, I hadn't really paid attention to that part. The slope was relatively decent. Our brakes aren't fantastic on a hill. So I kind of, without stopping, what I should have done is I should have stopped or even reversed all the way back down. But I should have stopped and reassessed. Even better, I should have just waited entirely and had lunch. Had a bit of a rest. My mind would have been clearer. I do not operate well when I'm hungry. So yeah, I shouldn't have pushed up there. And there was like a little lump which I had to traverse to get over while turning right. And that lump actually put the car on an off-camber angle. Not a huge angle, but obviously enough of an angle. So it was definitely not flat. It doesn't really show that clearly in the GoPro. It kind of makes it look very flat, which it's not. It had been raining a ton, like I had said, and that whole kind of area is pretty much like river rock on like a sandy, loose soil. So what's happened is I've kind of committed, when I shouldn't have, to turn right onto this bridge. And within about 2 seconds, the truck has lost traction on the back. I've got Oakley's toy here to try and demonstrate. I couldn't find a 6x6, but you can kind of get the idea. So my back right tyres, they've grabbed and they've pulled some rocks out of the way as I've lost a bit of traction. We're 4 tons, we're kind of heavy, not really heavy, but as that's taken me off camber, all of the weight is transferred to those back 2 wheels, a lot of the weight. They've gripped hard. I didn't have diff locks on because I was not anticipating it to need them at all. They've grabbed rock and it's kind of dug in, and very quickly, I think it's slightly crab walked right. And there's like a gully here off of this bridge. They've sort of dipped down off this verge, which you can't really see in the GoPro, but it's a proper little verge there. So it's lifted the truck like that. So this wheel off of the ground, these wheels off of the ground. As soon as it happened, I knew instantly that it was going to be a proper rollover. It was just a matter of time. I don't know what it was about it, but just the feeling, I knew there was too much weight bringing me over. By that stage, you know, Ange is screaming. I've cut a lot of Ange's screaming out, and in her defense, this is our home, right? So this is our vehicle, is everything to us. We don't have somewhere to go. You know, we're in a foreign country. It's all we've got. So watching her home do that when she wasn't even there, so she was frustrated with me because I hadn't have waited. And obviously Oakley started screaming because he's seen that happen. And it's obviously just been 0 to 100% really quickly. So she's come running up with Oakley. She's put Oakley down, and like, I think, yeah, kind of the frazzle in her brain, she's opened up the rear door to think about like maybe grabbing some stuff for Oakley or something like that. Grabbing his shoes, I think, is what she was immediately thinking about once she could tell I was okay. Now, I was screaming at her, it's gonna roll, and I think it took her a little bit to register what I was saying because she was so upset. So I've just screamed at her just to get away from the truck. So that's when, yeah, she's run back. She's slammed the GoPro down because she already had that with her because we'd been recording on the riverbed, or she had been recording on the riverbed. From my perspective, cab is really cramped. It's not, you don't have a lot of room there. So once that angle had been created, it very much felt like I was kind of trapped. Now, I must admit, I didn't have my seatbelt on when I was coming up that little track because I under no circumstances thought there was any rollover risk. The reason I don't wear a seatbelt off-road most of the time is because it locks immediately, and because of the viewing angle of the truck, it means I can't see any of my corners or angles. I kind of can't move, and it drives me bonkers. So I usually, when I'm doing slow off-road crawling where there's 0 risk of encountering another vehicle at speed or a rollover, I don't wear a seatbelt. And of course I never wear a seatbelt doing river crossings because you just shouldn't, in case something goes wrong, you're not kind of trapped. But I had enough time to like put my seatbelt on. For some reason it worked even at that angle. So I put my seatbelt on. I made sure the handbrake of the truck was off. I made sure the truck was out of gear. Obviously there's no point having the handbrake on because the wheels are up in the air. and I turned the truck off, so I made sure that the engine wasn't running. And I had I think about a minute when we look at the camera footage. I had a minute, almost exactly, to think about this rolling. So at one point it kind of stopped, and that was when Ange was filming. And then I think kind of these bushes underneath me and some rubble gave way, and it did the big roll, which is really terrifying because a minute when you're that adrenalated feels like an eternity, right? So my life didn't flash before my eyes or anything, but what the camera didn't show and what we didn't film, because we didn't think of it, is if I had been about a meter more to the right, it would have been about, I estimate, about a 6 meter fall into the riverbed, and I would have been on the roof, so I might have not survived it. So when I was there kind of just holding on to the steering wheel, getting ready for it to go, like these things are flashing through my mind, like how bad is this roll gonna be? I was so grateful Oakley and Ange went in the car, so in that respect I was kind of at peace. I was just trying to kind of get everything in order, ready for the fall. Luckily, as it fell, there was a slight embankment and a bunch of bushes that stopped the fall of the truck, thank God. As I've rolled, obviously they've flipped out. I don't think you can hear it, but I've screamed out immediately, I'm okay. Now, I don't think they heard, so they've come running over, really upset, obviously. So yeah, I just keep saying I'm okay, and then I'm there for an eternity. I don't really understand what took me so long in the truck, but you might be able to hear this beeping going off, and that's our CO2 sensor going off. So I'm like trying to figure out, is there a fire or something, I think is what I was thinking. So I was kind of looking back. I don't know, I took too long to get out of the truck. But in my mind, the roll had finished. There was no further risk of it rolling. But once I got out of the vehicle, once Ange held up the door and I was like really just look after Oakley, I can do this myself, but she was trying to help. So that's why I look so cross in it. I didn't realize that the truck could still roll further, because I couldn't see what sort of embankment the truck was sitting on. If it was just bush and like shrubbery, with the 4-ton weight, it could have gradually let go. So I really should have got out of that truck faster than I did. Anyway, got out, you know, just making sure Oakley was okay as best he could. We had nothing, no water, no food. I assessed the situation off camera, and I deemed it too risky for me to go back into the truck to try and retrieve everything at that stage. I thought, no, look, it's not dark yet. I'm going to stay out just in case I cause the truck to further roll. And like a guardian angel, a guy and his friend just kind of walked in out of nowhere from the other side of the bridge. He had a shotgun kind of on his shoulder, and it turned out he had been shooting like a blackbird, or had been hunting like a blackbird. And he came straight over, and he was so lovely, such a nice guy. And hats off to the Albanian people. They are such a lovely bunch of people. We've had just nothing but good things to say about the Albanian people. In fact, the majority of the people throughout these Balkan countries are just lovely people. They don't have much, a lot of them, but you're just super friendly, willing to help. And he just immediately, like, you know, patted me on the shoulder. He didn't speak a word of English, but, well, he spoke like 2 words of English, which was like, it's okay, and no, I think it was no worries, no worries. So he just kept saying that to me. Saw that we didn't have any water or anything, so his friend went back and got a bottle of water for Oakley, gave us like a loaf of bread that he had in his bag that he had bought, and they made the day so much better. He immediately got on his phone and just started calling, in Albanian, of course, so I couldn't understand anything. We waited there maybe for an hour or 2 hours, hard to say how long. And a group of, I think, 4 blokes turned up in a beat up ute. I don't know who they were, I assume they were like a construction worker or something like that. Anyway, they started having a back and forward. I was trying to use Google Translate as much as I could, but it wasn't working very well, especially the talk feature in it. And what I ascertained was they were going to get 2 cranes, which I assume was 2 trucks with a high lift on it, but they said 2 cranes. But then this one guy in text said to me, it's not our responsibility if the truck rolls further. So it was clear, because they were kind of arguing amongst themselves, and our new friend, you could tell, was batting for us, and you could see he was like trying to really encourage them. And yeah, I think they were really concerned about how they would lift it with a crane. I don't know if you can tell as well, we were more than sideways, we were very much coming onto the roof of Scuddy, so all of the weight was off the axles and stuff, so it was pretty much most of the weight was kind of going towards the roof. They ended up just leaving, just like that. I'd assumed they were kind of our saviors. I was prepared to pay, you know, them whatever they asked, really, because we were in such a bad situation. And they left, and the guy I worked out, he said, nah, they just weren't confident in doing it, so they've left. So he made another call, and he said, €100. My friend get you out for €100. And I was like, of course, like, we need our truck. I'm not going to be bartering with your friend on the side of the here, you know. So we then sat down and waited for maybe another 40 minutes, and this brutal old truck turned up with a high ab lift, and his mate, who I didn't catch his name, cool as a cucumber, jumps out, just kind of assesses it a little bit, did not muck about. We put two big soft straps around the chassis of Scuddy. The good thing about the front bumper is it kind of marries into the chassis rail, so it's really strong. So we wrapped it around a part of that and wrapped it around a rail, and I just made sure that it wasn't going to crush any of our copper brake lines or anything like that, or our fuel line. Before I could like try and communicate it all, he was like in the cab and starts pulling.
It's okay. It's okay.
It's okay, buddy. Stop.
Oh, it's gonna be slippery. Oh, slippery.
And you can see from the clips, like, it's probably one of the most stressful things I've had to watch, and I had no input in it. And it was, I watched so much of Matt's Offroad Recovery on YouTube, and they like plan a recovery and they make sure everything's okay. I'm thinking in the back of my mind, and I told them as well, you know, the handbrake's not on, it's not in gear. Once it gets on its wheels, it's going to want to roll off down the hill. And they're like, you know, they weren't dismissive at all, but you could tell this guy kind of knew what he was doing. So just gives it a great big tug with his truck trying to get up this hill. He starts sliding, the truck's going sideways, Oakley's screaming because he just has no idea what's going on, and the noise is really loud. And within 5 minutes, Scuddy's been towed back up the hill the way we had come. Towed us a little way, and kind of he parked us in one of the flattest places we could be, kind of pushed me into position off of this track. He would only take €100. The other two guys wouldn't take anything at all. And just like that, we were on our 6 wheels again. And I was assessing the truck, and I was like, it's not that bad. Like for all intents and purposes, mechanically it's probably sound. I didn't try and start the truck. I wanted to make sure all of the oil went back down into the engine sump, the oil sump, and I wanted to make sure, you know, all the oil in the, like you could smell gear oil. In fact, when I was kind of inverted in the truck, there was oil dripping down my leg from the steering box, because the steering box has a breather, and as it went inverted, like it was leaking. And if you've never smelt gear oil, it's this really acrid, potent smell. It smells very different from engine oil, and yeah, the truck stinks of it now. But so basically slept the night. The roof opened, some of the arms were a bit bent. I kind of bent them back into place as best I could, assessed the damage a little bit, just cleaned the truck up. Most important thing was just getting Oakley comfortable again. By that stage he was super calm. He actually didn't have a bad day. I even asked him at the end of the day, like, was that a fun day? And he was like, yeah. I think, yeah, he didn't realise how bad it was. And at one point when the truck was on its side, I just said to Oakley, I was like, Scotty's just being silly, she's just having a nap. Like, silly Scotty. And he, like, that seemed to really help. So he was like, oh, whatever, you know, my parents are always doing stupid stuff, so it'll be fine. So yeah, he was okay. And Ange not so much, but we kind of calmed down in the evening. We had one beer to share, we had a Corona to share. And for all intents and purposes, it was the best case scenario that could have come out of it. And the fact that we were sleeping in our truck on the same day that we rolled it, we were like, I couldn't believe it, really. We woke up in the morning and I just got about looking over the truck with a fine-tooth comb. Some of the oil had migrated from the front diff into the front right portal. So the front right portal was full to the brim with oil, which is not good for it. And the diff was almost empty of oil, which shouldn't really have happened, but I've obviously got a seal leaking between the two, so it just drained all into the portal. So I did those, I did all the portals, checked the oil, filled up where necessary, dumped oil where necessary. Gearbox needed oil, and the transfer case needed a lot of oil, which luckily I had on. I always carry gear oil, because it had, I guess, drained out of the breathers. The engine, the OM605, didn't lose a drop of oil, none came out. Maybe a little bit would have come through the crankcase breather, but then it would have drained back in. Smoked a bit on startup. We didn't film any of this, I'm sorry. Smoked a bit on startup, but absolutely fine. Checked the brakes were all good. The scary thing was I just had to get back in the saddle and drive up the way we had come to get out of there, which was still kind of off-roading, and just scared. Now, how it could have been avoided. So first of all, I should have eaten food. I should have waited for my spotter, which is Ange, because if she'd been in front of me, she might have looked at that and been like, no. Possibly I took the corner, I tried to take the corner too sharp, maybe, and that's why the wheels were just too close to that edge. I personally don't really think so. I think the ground kind of gave way because it was so wet and loose. I think that's really what caused it. I saw a few people had said, oh, Scotty's got a really high center of gravity. Scotty does not have a high center of gravity, but Scotty is high off the ground and relatively heavy. So as soon as we were up like that, and it was game over no matter what. It would have been game over in a normal four-wheel drive. Once you lose a back wheel down a slope like that, but you lift the other one, and there's no way of driving forward to get out of it or backward, like, you're gonna lose your vehicle. And of course we do have weight on the roof. We've got the rooftop tent, we've got the roof bag, we have our bed platform that's relatively high, and we've got relatively high cabinetry. So yes, there is weight up high, but the majority of the weight, similar to Bowser, is down low. But there is I guess a higher center of gravity than a normal four-wheel drive due to the portal axles and it just being quite high off the ground. So there is that, but there's no way in the build after this I would change anything. I've made it as light as I can up top. It's just the nature of the vehicle. But there's nothing I would have massively done differently if I'd known, other than, yeah, just kind of taking it slower. Obviously, knowing I wouldn't have tried to get over that side of the river, but yeah, there was nothing. Scotty didn't do anything wrong, and I don't think I massively did anything wrong. I think it was more just kind of like a freak accident, and yeah, you spend enough time off-road, percentages at some point something might go catastrophically wrong. So we've been lucky. So Scotty had been driving fine. We went and started seeing some body shops, and the first body shop we went to, we had a look on Google reviews. He was injured, but he gave us the details of some friends, and they immediately looked at the truck. They said it would be about 5 days, hence why we're in the Airbnb. And we picked up the truck yesterday. It only took them 3 days, really only about 2 days of work. We haven't filmed most of it, we've taken a break, but they did a really good job of fixing damage that I thought was unfixable. So they cut into the panel in the front there, put more steel in there, and they've done a really awesome job. And I did not expect them to do any paint. I said, don't worry about painting it. I have some touch-up paint at Jans in Germany, so I'll have to respray the truck. And they kind of matched a colour somehow pretty well, even with a bit of texture. So that was impressive. They were really good guys. And they had quoted me €300. So the crazy thing about Albania is, first of all, it's the poorest country in Europe. And I believe the monthly wage is only like 700 something euros. It's really low. But fuel is really expensive, and food seems to be quite expensive. So the government taxes the fuel shockingly on the population, which is sad. It's such a shame. Getting stuff done, it's a brilliant country to get things done in terms of labour, and we're so lucky this happened in Albania, because anywhere else it would have just cost so much money we don't have, but we kind of had to get it fixed. But they were happy with it. We gave them more than €300 because they did a good job. And there's just not that much damage on Skadi. Like, I built the interior so tight because I knew I didn't want to be hearing everything rattling while we were driving, because, you know, we're kind of like a van body. And not even a drawer opened in the rollover. Like, nothing, no damage on the interior at all. The middle table we have where we kind of eat dinner and Oakley plays on, that flew away. So that could have been really dangerous if we rolled the other way and Oakley had been in his seat. So I'm going to find a way to secure that, because it's definitely a dangerous projectile. Like, if you copped that in the head, it could kill you. Other than that, you just stuff flying everywhere, but not major at all. So we're incredibly lucky. So we check out of here tomorrow morning. We'll pack, we're a mess, but we'll pack the truck, and we'll probably just go to a campsite, and I'll do some repairs. I've got some black glue and some white glue, like sealant glue. So I'm going to seal all the joins on the truck and make sure everything's watertight. It has been raining and there is a bit of water inside Skadi, so I need to fix that up on the joins. And we're kind of back on the road. So I must admit, I'm shaken up by it. I don't want to do any off-roading for a little while. I'm okay to drive, but I don't want to be doing that. So the videos will probably take a little bit of a rest in terms of off-roading. There is some Roman ruins in Albania I'd love to see. There's some cool bunkers and stuff, so we will still do some filming, but if we're not doing our regular sort of filming, you'll understand why. We kind of need a little bit of a breather, and I feel a bit exhausted from all the driving, and this is kind of, you know, the breakdown not too long ago, that was tiring, and this one's been, yeah, exceptionally tiring. Before I ramble forever, thank you so much for the support. Thank you for watching the video, and hopefully in some way it can answer some questions, or maybe how that, just eat food before you do off-roading is the biggest takeaway, really. Okay, thank you so much, guys. We'll see you when we see you.
Dancing, dancing. Dancing, dancing, dancing.
Stop
when I say freeze!
Yay!
Very good, very good.